eliminated thousands of terrorists, including Nasrallah, his successor, and the successor of that successor.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken aims to strengthen U.S. relations in East Asia this week by attending 2 summits with leaders from the Indo-Pacific and Southeast Asian regions.
Blinken is in Vientiane, Laos, through Friday.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un warned the U.S. and South Korea that any attack would be met with a nuclear response, according to state media.
With tensions still high on the peninsula and concerns rising over a possible provocation ahead of the U.S. election, Kim issued the threat during a speech.
A 74-year-old man survived Colorado's first reported bear attack of the year after fighting off a black bear that broke into his home with her 3 cubs last week, officials said.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for coffee comedy with a dog. You make me laugh.
No, I refuse. I'm refusing to refuse of my refusal. Or refusing to refuse my... Whatever I'm refusing to do, I refuse. Does this mic even work? Doesn't work, does it? That's fine. Happy Thursday. Yeah, happy Thursday. Today is Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Just another dreary, cold autumn day on the way to a dreary, cold autumn winter, of which I will probably kick the bucket. Okay, that's the show for today. Thanks for coming. You got your dose of positive motivation and inspiration. You look forward to me being dead. So do I. Nothing in that news report about Florida. I'm trying to find out, what the deal is with Florida, with this hurricane, how everybody made out, and nothing. And if I'm looking online, I'm not really getting any solid information about, I'm not looking for devastation. I'm looking to know that people are all right. The dude in the boat who identified himself as Lieutenant Dan, Forrest Gump guy, turns out he's a grifter. Crazy guy who turned down shelter. The mayor of the town there, the doc that offered him shelter, he turned it down. He's got 4 different GoFundMe pages, up to about $27,000. So trying to make money off this thing. And turns out he's been arrested in the last couple of weeks, once for beating up a cop, and another time beating up an EMT with a violin. A crazy person. Who would have thought a guy who was docking his sailboat in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane would be a crazy person? Go figure. It's I didn't see that coming. but it turns out it looks like he's all right. Shame, sad to say, he's all right. Getting, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what the hell is that supposed to mean. Are we docking all right? Right in the middle of me trying to pull together some cognitive ability here, I get a private message. Here's the thing this morning. Just as I'm ready to go on the air, Mikey texts me and says that the gig for tonight is actually next Thursday night. Change the event on Facebook and all this stuff. Like, wait a minute. I didn't fuck this up because you originally told me it was October 17th. And then you called and said you were wrong. It's October 10th. Now, 1 minute before I'm going live, you want to text me and say, oh, fix it. It's really the 17th. Did you fuck up? And then he says, no, he's not owning it. This is piss poor management. When you make mistakes, you got to own it and do your best to rectify the situation. You don't pass the buck. You don't pass the blame. And this is where we are today. Anyway, coming back to this hurricane thing. The guy who calls himself Cat Turd, by the way, they're having like a turd fest for Cat Turd. John Rich, the midget country music writer, producer from Big and Rich, and Cat Turd having Turd Fest. Doesn't sound like something I'd want to buy tickets to, Turd Fest. Anyway, Cat Turd is on there, and he says this. This is how stupid these people are. I'm sorry if you're one of these people. Maybe you want to open up your eyes and realize how stupid you are. He says it's 180 miles. It's 180 miles per hour. It's 185 miles per hour. Wait, it's 145 miles per hour. Oh, wait again, it's 165 miles per gallon, he says. I don't know how you measure a storm by per gallon. Oh, wait, it's 120 miles per hour. Oh, wait, it's 146 miles per hour again. Oh, wait, it's 115 now hitting. I'll never listen to the Weather Channel again. As if the Weather Channel is responsible for the wind velocity changing instead of being responsible for reporting on what the current conditions are. He's blaming the Weather Channel for the changing of the wind velocity. Like he's never been in a hurricane, and all of a sudden he became expert on wind velocity and just can't understand. How could the wind velocity possibly change? Isn't it a constant thing? Isn't wind velocity always the same no matter what? The stupidity of these people is just overwhelming, and I can't take it anymore. I really cannot take it anymore. But there it is. Today we are going to meet an author, and I'm going to mess up his name. Aren't you sick of me just messing up people's names? I think it's Mashiel Hoke. I think he has a book called "The Girl Who Changed the World," and it's like all this positivity. And let me just read what the live life forward in confidence, because afterwards everything always falls into place. I have a feeling now. One of my publicist friends, Mickey Mickelson, recommended him to this program. I have a feeling he does not understand the negative curmudgeon that he is going to be faced with in me. I'm not a person who can live forward in confidence. I live forward in how will the world end today? Doom and gloom is my. There is not just a black cloud following me. I am pulling it actually along with me. I'm just looking forward to gloom and doom now. North Korea is threatening nuclear strikes back at the United States if South Korea does anything to it. I didn't even know that South Korea had threatened the North, but apparently the little fat man. I almost said something very racist there. I stopped myself, which is progress, right? and I recognized that it was a racist thing to say. So I'm making progress. Anyway, so I'm living forward in confidence because afterwards everything will fall into place. Mr. Negativity here, just trying to adopt this idea of confidence. How could you be confident in a world like we are faced with today? I just don't see it. And the other part, we're going to get to a commercial in just 1 second here. I have with me 3 co-hosts who are on the program daily, and you think they listen to what I say sometimes, or not. I'm not even talking about issues or any other stuff. I'm talking about like in terms of sponsorship and what it takes to keep this dopey program on the air. And if you've heard me lately speaking about a company called Opus, which is a company that is our current sponsor that provides AI video editing. And then I get a text last night from Steven, the sitcom Ortiz, who wants to know if there's an AI app that will cut up his long form video into shorts. Yeah, our sponsor. And I sent him a link to the free trial, which is available now at opusclip.com. And use our link so we get credit for it if you're going to do that. But he's acting like, oh, you know what? I'm doing something wrong by sending him to our sponsor. I get this nasty text back. Oh, I was asking for recommendations. A recommendation, yeah. You see why I'm not really looking forward in confidence. I'm looking backward in doom and gloom. You see? Do you get it? Anyway, if you have long form video that you would like to get cut up into shorts, like Steven is wearing right now, he's wearing my shorts, shorts I took off last night because they were a little dirty. Anyway, opusclip.com. Here, you guys know an app that can hey, is that an app?
Dreams do come true. I am showering on Netflix.
Yeah, just before I get really into it with Steven, the sitcom Ortiz, who is in the room with me now, just want to tell people Sarah Talamash, Butthole Money, the latest special. Go see it. She's promoting it like, but obviously she doesn't want my help because I've offered her to come back on the program and promote it here. She probably thinks, what good is his help? But anyway, in the room with me now are our chief curmudgeonly younger man who is hates anything Republican. We were having this conversation about Ron last night. Ron Kane is with us, who would just, if the Republican Party said that everybody should be allowed to breathe free air, Ron would be against that. They're just trying to control us. Anyway, he's in the room with me now. And also my best friend of the last 37 years, Mr. P.T. Barnum. Good morning, PT. Oh, by the way, the website is down for the next 3 to 5 days, according to the Vietnam people.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Are you having issues with my Wi-Fi? It won't connect. It says it's connected, and you can look and see that all the signals are
sounded like you were saying, "Are you having issues with my wife?"
That's what I heard too.
My Wi-Fi. No,
I got it.
It won't connect to the internet, and so you have to use my phone.
So our website is run out of your house, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I'm sorry. Continue.
I got nothing. I was so busy trying to troubleshoot this and it's still not working. You can see here, it's not working. It's there's the microphone.
You know what I would do? I would find somebody I don't like and throw the phone at their head.
No, this isn't a phone. No, the phone.
Oh.
This is the phone. The phone is what I'm using for a hotspot.
Oh.
This is the Wi-Fi that connects to
I
internet.
throw anything. Hammer, Wi-Fi.
I definitely recommend
throw.
I agree with Matt. Percussive maintenance is the way to go.
Yeah, you just throw it. I don't know if I told the story about when I threw the phone at the CEO's head. I'll save that story for another day. I think I have told that story. I don't know.
I think you have. I've been hit in the head several times with phones working at Sprint. Man, it's horrible.
I just want to say those anger issues are in my past. Hopefully, but you never
they're
know.
in your pants. They're not in your past.
In my shorts that Steven is wearing. That he cut. Yeah. They were cut off shorts. With scissors. You remember the old days when you used to cut off your pants and make them into shorts?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't live in the fucking 50s.
40s.
Yeah, that was how you got more life out of your pants. Once they became high waters, you cut them off and they became shorts.
Oh, I have jorts, but I don't have Daisy Dukes.
Nobody said we cut them that short. No.
I've seen the shorts from when you guys were young. They were damn near. They were 2 inches away from being fucking ball huggers.
You talking about basketball shorts? You talking about?
No, you're talking about I thought you were talking about cutoffs, where you get the dungarees that you cut off.
Yeah. Well.
All right. No,
black guys didn't do that. Not black guys with confidence.
That's true. I never saw any of your black guys doing that. That's very true. In my neighborhood, it was only white Guidos like me.
Well, the black guys that did do it were most likely gay. And that's because they wanted their business. They were advertising. They wanted their business hanging out.
Now, let's test my theory about Ron. Republicans say that every white male should be allowed to have as many beautiful sex kittens as they could possibly perform for. You're against it, aren't you?
Now, they wouldn't have that because the women.
No, you can't say they wouldn't have it. Let's just say they had it. You'd be against it. They wouldn't
have it. It's an impossibility. Have you seen some of these women that line up behind Trump? It looks like they've had lobotomies, some of them.
Ron, you're completely wrong. You're completely wrong. You're forgetting about the entire state of Utah, where they all have multiple wives.
That's true.
They're all Republicans.
That's true. See, Steven's on my side for once.
But they're not kittens.
And they're also 12 years old. So there you go.
Okay, well, see, he's not wrong. So, Matt,
that's not wrong. This is all fine. This is supposed to be a hypothetical. The thing is, if the Republicans were for something and it turned out to be something good, you would be against it. Now, your comeback is they would never be for something that is good. Something that
I'm for the death penalty. I'm all right with guns as long as there's rules in place for it. I am for personal freedom. Republicans no longer are, for some reason. They gave it up. So
they gave it up.
Yeah,
gave it up for Lent. All right. So I stand corrected. There are two things that Ron is for that the Republicans are actually say they're for. Well, we don't really know, but all right. So I stand corrected. I've been wrong again.
They can't.
Are you writing this down, GD? Or what are you doing? You're cutting off your shorts? Is that what you're doing?
No, they're already short. I'm tucking my stuff back inside.
Okay.
They can't even be.
That's the reason I can't wear shorts.
You mean you're reeling it in?
Conservatives.
Well, I'm very neat. I'm not reeling it. I'm folding it. It hurts, but it fits better.
All right. Before we get to our guest.
Ron, I apologize. I didn't mean to talk over you, but Matt was already talking over you, so I figured if I talked over you too, it wouldn't make a difference.
That's right. No. Did you have something further to add? I already owned up to being wrong. Do you want to shovel some more on me now while you have the floor? Ron?
I'm good.
Okay. Then we can move on. The hurricane. Have you guys? I can't get any status updates about people I know that are down there.
I talked to my nephew. He lives in Winter Park. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. He lives in a town in Florida. He doesn't like me put his business out there. So I didn't say that he lives in Winter Park. Y'all don't know that. Y'all didn't hear me say that my nephew Mark lives in Winter Park.
No,
You didn't hear
it
that.
could be Lake Wales, could be any Lakeland, it could be anywhere down there.
Right.
In that.
It could be Ocala. It could be Celebrity.
Is he all right? Is the place? Is it still there? Is Florida still there? That's what I'm concerned
about. Parts of it are. He said that he suffered minor damage. We didn't say what it was, but I suggested that he call FEMA and get that 750.
Yeah, 750.
Yeah. Now I reached out to my friend Sean, who lives in Florida, but he evacuated. He and his dog evacuated.
So did I.
And they lived in just north. I think near Tampa, south of Tampa, but north of Sarasota.
St. Petersburg.
So could be, but not St. Petersburg, but like in that area.
All right.
And he says they're fine, but he's reached out to some of his friends, and some of them didn't lose any power at all. So it depends on, yeah.
It seemed to have downgraded, like, because it was down to like 120, not like 120 miles an hour. It's just like a nice breeze. But from 165, that's a significant downgrade. But I don't know why I can't get any information on any of the damage.
Did you see the roof of Tropicana Field?
No.
Well, actually, you didn't see the roof because there is no roof.
Wow.
You didn't see the roof.
Hey, I saw that they were using that as the field as a training ground for, I guess, FEMA or National Guard
it was
or whatever.
A shelter. It was like their headquarters. They were sheltering FEMA people there.
Wow.
All right. But yeah, so you don't see the roof at Tropicana because it looks like just a bunch of championship banners. It's just like fabric flapping from the poles. That's what it looks like. Fabric flapping. Looks like their championship banners. So they'll probably just leave it because they may never win a championship.
So have we gotten news of another storm forming yet?
There won't be another storm for at least a week.
For a week. Well, that's good.
At least a week.
All right.
I think Hurricane Milton is the next one.
I don't know. Is your Wi-Fi running off of GD's Wi-Fi? Is that what's going on here?
Oh,
because you cut out a little bit.
Yeah, it's coming through Friday. It looks like.
All right.
Because Helene just went through, right?
Oh, yeah.
Helene and Milton. No, Milton is the one that just
Milton was yesterday.
Milton was yesterday. Okay, then yeah. So I haven't heard of another one yet.
Yeah, no. Your news is running. Your news is coming off of GD's Wi-Fi.
I went to open up the weather and TikTok.
Oh no, I know it is. Alan Edwards is your main resource for late breaking news.
Just remember, God hates the
Yeah. Oh well.
That's why
I should be dead by lunchtime then.
If that's true, then how come he made it to where I had to sit all the time?
That's right. That's a good point.
Maybe God hates me. Maybe that's what it is.
I really want to get to our guest last night, but I saw Steven's clip last night. Looks like you had a great crowd. Looks like you did very well. I was delighted to see you lost the hat and the light was on you and you could see your face and it looked like a good time. So we'll talk about that in a second. Go ahead.
Cool. Sounds good. No, you're good. Yeah, we said we'll talk about second hour. No big deal.
Oh no! All right, I'm getting text messages from people. Here's the deal: I got to get to my guest. I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name right. You know that, and it's just like I feel like all these publicists and promoters that I work with who send me these guests, they think, who do I have that has a name that will screw Matt up and he won't be able to say it? This is their only.
Matt, I checked. I did a deep dive into his background, and his name really isn't Maciel Hulk. It's actually William Smith, and he changed it just so that he could get on the show.
Oh, very good. Our guest this morning is William Smith, who has written a book, "The Girl Who Changed the World," which is a book about confidence and looking forward to, I guess it's kind of like the law of attraction. We'll let him explain it, but he's here now. Let me just change the layout, actually, before I bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, the aforementioned William Smith. William, good morning.
Good morning, America, from Amsterdam. You got a lot of hurricanes going on.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to disrespect you like that. What is is it Machiel Hulk?
Machiel or Machiel is the Dutch name, but we all do G. So Machiel is perfectly fine.
All right.
And Hook like Captain Hook.
You know, I have a AI thing on YouTube for the YouTube people on this, where X looks for keywords, and I put your name in it, and all of a sudden the keywords associated with you were fish hook, I forget it, marketing hook, video hook. It looks at your last name and thinks I misspelled it. It should be Hook. So.
I'm the Hook, apparently. Very good. Got bait.
So the book should really be called The Grandpa Who Changed the World, right? Because I'm for grandpas. I'm not a little girl.
Oh, yeah.
I'm confused about confidence and how everything will fall into place, because in my life, the most confident people I know are generally Dunning-Kruger people. They are very confident but very wrong most of the time, and I find that if I demonstrate confidence, it always backfires on me, which is why I turned out to be I believe in jinxes. If I say things are going to go well, they fall apart. If I say things are going to suck, I generally have a good time, and everything falls into place.
Yourself with the negativity, yes.
Yeah. How did you come upon this this attitude of confidence?
Well, it's not really about confidence. Maybe that's also related to the fish hooks, but it's more about, you said, the law of attraction or something like that. Indeed, it's a metaphor. It's a story about how you can change the world by just doing it yourself. And this grandpa takes his granddaughter on a journey by showing her things and letting her experience it herself, letting her, let's say, discover the secret of life, or a secret of life. And by that, she discovers, in fact, that, hey, the world is not apparently something that comes at me and I don't have any influence on it. So it's not even what I attract, but maybe it's something that I even radiate. So my senses, do they discover, or do they perceive things, or do they radiate like a bat? And am I creating the world by radiating? And that's a nice question. And at some point, she discovers, by changing her world in that way, she just changes the world of her grandfather and everyone else then. But it's an easy step. It's a story like The Alchemist or Alice in Wonderland. But it shows you step by step how you can apply this law of attraction or the secrets, and then reverse it, actually, being totally in control. And that's a magical approach. And I thought always as a child, the older you get, magic disappears and life just gets more serious and more binary. And I discovered that the contrary, of course. There's more magic even when you get older, and there's more magic when you think you know more, because then you know nothing.
Did you set out when you started to write this? Was your intent to write a novel? Was your intent to write a self-help book? What was your intent when you sat down to start writing?
I started writing after I just flipped my whole life around, because I was an entrepreneur, sold my business, became CEO of a large company that bought my business, and they said, you stay 3 years and then you get the final payment and the amount. And after 1 year, I know exactly, I was on a holiday in France with my wife. I looked at my car, my Jaguar, and said, okay, 2 more years. Then I'll be financially independent, and then I can do what I actually wanted to do as a child, find the secret of life. And then it's that exact moment, my heart, my stomach just said, no, buddy boy, you got to do it right now or do it never again. And I thought, fuck, if I do it now, I lose all this money. But my heart, my voice was so strong that it's like, I have to cut it, and I have to just believe in this adventure or quest I'm going on. And I started to write because I thought, I have to be able to explain it to myself, what the secret of life is about and how you get there. So I have to be able to explain it to other people. And the best way to do it, I think, is a novel. Just take people by the hand and just get them into a story that they don't want to stop reading. And it took me some more time than I thought, but it was my goal to be able to express that to people without saying, this is the way you got to do it. You got to find it yourself.
The secret of life. The secret of life, is that the same thing as discovering the meaning of life? Because they're not necessarily the same thing, right? Or are they?
Well, for you to decide, I think. What's the meaning of your life? What's the secret of life? It's like if you go, and I've never been there, but like an LSD trip or anything else, you find things like Alice in Wonderland. You find things interweaving, and what's true, what's not, what's meaning, what's secrets. The more secrets you discover, the more meaning you get, I think. And it never stops. That's what I found. I thought, if I find the secret of life, then I found it, and I'm done. I'm there. And of course, just when you're there, the whole door opens, and you get into a new universe of endless secrets and possibilities and endless meanings. So it's like down the rabbit hole and never getting out.
Yeah. Now, in this book, it seems to me, and you, first of all, just because the main character is a young girl and you are not a young girl, that you have to kind of completely put yourself. What, you didn't know that?
It's 2024, man. You can't assume that. He could identify as a 12-year-old girl.
That's true.
I heard you talk about Daisy Duke. Yes.
Yeah, but
yeah, see, exactly.
the idea of completely not writing it from your perspective, because the story takes place in the United States, in Minneapolis, or near in the northern parts of the United States, and so it's like you're writing completely a different element than your reality. It just seems to me like a really
not completely, because that area of the U.S. is kind of like Scandinavia Light. If you've ever watched,
it's not like Amsterdam. It's not like Amsterdam.
Well, I said Scandinavian Light. If you watch the Golden Girls, you'd understand that.
Ooh, yeah.
Wait, so you're from
Thank
Amsterdam.
you for being a friend.
You said you're from Amsterdam, right?
Yes.
Now, is it you guys that have the government subsidized hookers?
The no, that's Australia.
Come here and I'll tell you. I'll show you. I think you've got to experience things firsthand.
So, but the idea of writing this book and completely like disconnected from your own reality, day-to-day reality, that's unusual. Usually when I have authors on, and I have lots of authors on, the protagonist of the story is identifiable with them, and people think, well, you can often mistake, if you know the author, think it's like a biography or something like that. You went completely 180 degrees from your own personal reality. Intentionally so, not to make it feel like a biography, or and was it a difficult thing to do?
Intentionally, yes, because I wanted to explain something, and I wanted to be, let's say, have kind of a wake-up call to women in the world. We're 5 men here, but I think that a lot of problems in the world are caused by men these days. I don't see any female...
They are, most of them. Yeah, almost all of them. Yeah.
I don't see a female Putin or Xi or every other person's out there.
Not since Margaret Thatcher died.
Yes, exactly. Well,
you never heard of Hillary Clinton?
She's nothing like Margaret Thatcher.
Just kidding.
No, you're right. No, but I think if you want to change the world, and I also want to change the world, of course, I think if we really want to change this world, we need to get back to a new level of equality between feminine and masculine, so between men and women.
Yeah.
And all of the game have been masculine, have been made by men, and most women that thrive these days are able to cope with those rules, but majority of women aren't, because these rules are favoring our, let's say, characteristics and disfavoring the female ones. So this grandpa in his book, maybe that's me, tries to explain it to his granddaughter, but he's making a big mistake. He's not walking his talk, and that's what a lot of men do, even a wise man. And she discovered that and says she really pinches him in the heart, saying, "If you gotta continue doing this, I don't want to be your granddaughter anymore. You're don't gonna be my grandfather anymore." So it was about me trying to explain this to women, to femininity, and just being sure that I also understood that. So I was lucky to be raised by my mother, my grandmother. With changing my life, I entered into a new love she had a 7-year-old daughter, and she taught me a lot about femininity and about stepping in the world of a teenage girl.
Wow.
Now, your book, I shouldn't say a book, but in the blurb that Matt had cut and paste from, I guess, from your website. And one of the things it says you like to keep it simple. I think that's the way is that the premise of the book? She's learned by keeping it simple. Because the way I raised my daughter was that the world is complicated. The world is not simple, but to solve problems, you break it down to simple parts. Because no matter how complicated something is, it's made up of simple parts.
That's a pretty complicated question, I think.
No, but I simplified it for her, and she understood it. Like music, like because she wanted to play guitar, and she would listen to somebody play guitar, and she was like, "Wow, that's really hard." And I said, "Think about this. First of all, he has the same notes on his guitar that you have on yours, okay?" And then we broke it down. Instead of looking at the whole riff as a piece, the whole composition as a whole composition, we broke it down to the basics, the notes, the frets, fingering, and stuff like that. And then you add that up to make it a complicated song. The same thing with the world. You know, she was an artist, and she wanted to draw a tree. I said, well, yes, the tree is very complicated. But if you break it down, it's circles and squares and triangles and lines and curves, and then you can make a tree.
You're right.
So I was just wondering, when you say keep it simple, are you saying that the world is simple, or to break it down into simple parts? I was just wondering where simplicity lied with you.
Of course, the world is complex as you want to make it, but often things seem complex when you can't comprehend them or break them down, like you say. So if you break it down, there was this woman coming with this famous French chef in his restaurant. She said, "Oh, bonsoir." I don't recall his name, but I have all your cooking books, and I try to make it every day, but I cannot cook like you. And he says, "Oh, madame, I have all the Mozart's piano concertos at home. I have a big grand piano, but I can't play a note." You got to study. You got to start simple. You got to make it simple. That's right. And even that example, how you teach your daughter, is in this book as well. Grandfather talking with his granddaughter about the piano, about music, how everything is made up out of, if you have a complexity in the world, it's all made out of simple elements. And if we, from a Dutch point of view or European point of view, looking at America, in our view, and I heard you talk about politics, everything or the most elements in your country, in America, and it hurts me because I like America, but I'm very polarized. There's always wrong or right. You're black or white thinking. You are with us or against us. You're Democrat or Republican. Where's the common ground? Where's the common center? If you have the elections coming up, no matter what the outcome is, half of the country will be dissatisfied and frustrated. That's not known to us. We have 20 political parties, so there's always a lot of people happy and in other ways less frustrated. But the polarization which we perceive, or I perceive in the US, I think is something that also is simplification. But there is room for more color, not black and white thinking, but the common ground, finding each other instead of saying you're wrong, I'm right. What politicians.
Right. Does anybody know if we're really looking at Ron, or is that just a still picture and he walked away?
Ron stepped away, but that's how
I was wondering, because there was absolutely no response from him, no facial movement. I'm like, is that the still, or is that
Yeah, because I saw you finger him and he still didn't giggle or anything.
Yeah, no, I would expect that he would at least react to that and curse me out or something. Is the polarization we're witnessing in the United States not part of Europe too? I was under the impression that Europe is equally polarized in at least some parts of it. All right,
it's getting more polarized. The whole world is getting that way. That's true. You're right, and that's unfortunate. That was not the case in the past, but that's right.
Right.
But we made it cool
that America takes the lead in many things in the world, and that's I thought when you want to change the world, start changing America, and then the world will follow.
I'm interested.
I think part of it because we have a representative democracy, so we basically just have the two-party system. But in Europe, most of the governments there are parliamentary, if I understand correctly, and so you can have like 19 parties, and then you have to develop a consensus to govern. Yeah. Here we have just two parties. You don't need a consensus, just a majority.
Yeah, and that's 50-50 nowadays.
I think Ron might be pooping. Just got a notification that he liked my TikTok video. So.
Yes, that's where he is. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's where he's at.
So in other words, the coffee and the bran muffin finally kicked in. Okay. I'm interested in this change the world as a just an ideal, and so, because lately I've been thinking a lot. I mean, I've always been thinking a lot about purpose of life, but the conversations about purpose of my particular life, an individual's life, and we look at why was I born? What am I? And a lot of people have these lofty ideas of what their purpose should be. And I think it feels like changing the world is just way too big for me. My purpose in life is to make one dying person smile this week, and that will be that's all. I'm not really that significant, but this idea of change, do you believe that a single individual can have that big an impact on the entire world, the entire planet?
Well, there's a ripple effect. You do as well. You all do with everything you do, and especially when you start from your heart and you want to change the world in a way you think it's becoming a better world. You do much more than changing one person, because changing one person, if they die, of course, then the ripple effect stops. But it all spreads around. It's all a multiplication. And changing, depending on what you want to do. I thought by bringing this to America, I want to help make America nice again.
Yeah, man. Good luck with that. But this is where
Anna from Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah, they have good weed over there.
Anna from Amsterdam.
Now, you saw one person. It's funny you said one person changed the world, because the first thing I thought of was Paul, not Jesus, because Jesus actually didn't do it. Jesus kind of stayed local, but Paul was the one who, kind of was his mouth. That was his PR guy, even though he didn't know him directly, wasn't getting paid. But Paul did it. I think Muhammad did it, but so one person can, but it's like I said, it's a huge ripple effect, and it just gets traced back to the pebble.
And it's like a mirror, of course. When you change your own world, the world changes for you, and then things changes for yourself. And if you are stepping into the fact that we're all have the same source, we stem from the same source, then you can, if you truly step into the word namaste, meaning the divine in me sees the divine, or recognizes the divine in you, you actually exchange the same source. And I'm actually talking to four Michaels here, and Makiels in this way, or Matt is talking to four Matts. You're talking to yourself. Everything is a reflection of you. If you talk about, for instance, shamanic dream explanations, everything in a dream is a representation of yourself. So if you do that in the world as well, you become confronted with things that you don't like. And what do they say about yourself? So the changing the world, of course, is a big step and a big engagement, but also the most simple one, because change your world and it's done.
Right.
Well, the thing is, you refer to namaste, the divine in me sees the divine in you. The problem is it doesn't translate well in the U.S., because in the U.S., divine was a tremendously popular drag queen. And and
I was going to say that exact same thing. It's like divine.
So people, the right, somebody who is a more progressive might say the drag queen in me sees the drag queen in you. If you're a conservative, it doesn't mean the same. It hurts if you're a conservative. The drag queen inside a conservative wants to just hide in the closet and not see the drag queen in other people.
I think this is B-worthy. We'll have to come back to that. Because part of making progress is being able to measure and recognize that you are moving forward in a positive direction. And I think when you have lofty goals like having an impact on the world, it's really hard to even have any perspective on, what I did this week. How does it even matter? I mean, if I look at it, it doesn't feel like I've impacted the world at all. So coming back to that idea of adopting a mindset that I'm making a positive change is important, but I can't do that if I don't see evidence of it, right? It becomes like almost a catch-22 or a catch-22, I guess, because I have these lofty goals. I want to make an impact on the world. I don't see any reflection that I'm making any progress in that area. It kills my mindset that I can do that. And then all of a sudden I'm back to being insignificant again. So, right? You gather what
Yeah, you need a positive feedback loop, right?
Right. I could have just said that. Why didn't I just say that?
It's the white weed.
I haven't had it yet. Well, maybe later.
Morning with you, Sil. Here's afternoon. So you're right, but the progress you see is the progress you make yourself, of course. And sometimes it's harder than other times to see that. But it starts, in my view, with radical gratitude to everything and everyone, even the negative ones. And that's the biggest challenge: seeing the grace and the gratefulness, the gratitude in something and someone who hurts you, either in traffic, who does something wrong to you, who is mean to you, or even more hurts you, or your loved one, your ex-loved one. Can you find the part in that actually means something positive for you? What have you experienced? What have you learned? What does it bring you? And if you start with that small steps, you can apply bigger steps, and apply to the world's biggest problems. But it takes time, and it takes also a mindset in that way. I think radical gratitude in that way is the way to start that and start this positive feedback loop, which will never end.
Right. Can you seek it out? Because I come back to a conversation I had with somebody a couple of weeks ago on my evening program, where we were talking about my insomnia problems and trying to shut down the inner dialogue and just quiet. She said there is the seeking mind and the non-seeking mind, and the non-seeking mind is this place of peace. But the seeking mind, the minute you seek them, you want to be in that place of the non-seeking mind. You're in the seeking mind, so you can't actually willfully look for it. Do you think this mindset that you're talking about, can it be something that you willfully try to adapt, or do you or does it have to happen, I don't know, by osmosis, magically? Or
that's nice if it happens magically, of course, but I think the mind is just one part of your body, and of course the mind is always trying to find something or seek for something. So the silence is more in the rest of your body, your heart, your stomach, your so these techniques like meditation, like yoga, whatever works for you to silence your seeking mind is the first step to that. And if you go, I think none of us have been, or most people have not been able to be in a silent situation for 4 or 5 days. If you do that, go out in nature, like a vision quest, go out there and you don't have anyone to talk to. You don't have your phone. You just have water and a blanket to sleep under. Then your mind undergoes a transformation. I've experienced that, and that's magical, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's just silencing your seeking mind and getting to your heart. And sometimes you find inactivity, but if you have insomnia, that's usually a sign of your system saying, I want to change something. Either I want to actively change something or inactively, but since things are, there's a time for you to change something in your life.
Right. Yeah, we've said the word magical. I lost count, but quite a few times here this morning. And I think the idea, when we even suggest magical thinking or anything in terms of magical, we don't understand. It's a phenomenon we don't understand. At least here in the U.S., it's equated with naivety. Just really a childlike thinking, and why don't you be an adult? And there's no such thing as Santa Claus and all. Maybe in Amsterdam there is. But so it's a really hard thing to sell for America. Do you notice the interest in your book is more European than American? Do you find Americans are hard to
no, on the contrary, even easier. I
really,
although I had to fight to get it published. I had at some point printed 2,000 copies in Europe, flew them to Los Angeles and started to just giving them out on the streets and bookstores, because that I wanted to do. I said, I'll create something like people. At some point, one person will read it and say, hey, this is worthy to publish. But in LA, no one wants to take anything from you on the streets. So at some point, I went to homeless people and said, hey, here's a box of books. You can sell them, give them away, whatever you like. But the homeless people, the homeless network in Los Angeles spread my book around there.
I always thought they would have set them on fire to keep warm at night or something.
I hope they did as well. It's multifunctional. It burns well.
It kind of reminds me of the story, because there was a book in like the late 80s, maybe early 90s, the Celestine Prophecy that somebody gave to me that was sort of like that. It wasn't really promoted hard. You didn't see it. The bookstores did not have it like displayed. It was like one of these things that you found out from a friend who were generally a little bit shy and quiet about. I have this book. I think it will change your life. You should read it. But they weren't like saying it too loud.
Yes, James Redfield. Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. He also just spread his book around in the U.S. So I followed his in the footsteps, saying I got to do that as well. Had a different experience. Was busted by a sheriff for putting this in people's mailboxes. I learned that that's illegal in the U.S. But my defense was I'm Dutch. I don't know. So you're right about that. It's trying to spread it around. But Americans, in my view, are so enthusiastic about this stuff and this matter because. And that's just my perception. A lot of Americans have just apparently in this polarization mode, saying, "Okay, where can we go together?" And these books provide some clues to that. How can we come together again and work together instead of being right or wrong, or in one field or the other? With a lot of people have to survive and have 3 or 4 jobs to survive financially. That's not life, is it?
No, it's not. It feels like why, especially if people believe in creation and things like that. I mean, why would a creator create people just to make them struggle all the time? Now, if you don't believe in it, it's probably easier to accept the fact that we are just like constantly in struggle because there is no bigger picture. It's just this 65 years, 80 years, whatever, and then you're gone. You drift into nothingness.
Here's the challenge. Can you combine the view of people that believe in a creator with not believing in a creator? Can you combine a Republican view and a Democratic view? Can you combine being Jewish, being Muslim, being Christian, being atheist? Can you combine them all without saying you're wrong, I'm right, and saying we're all right, or we all have this position, we can understand each other? That's the challenge, and that's the invitation.
Right.
Well, what you're suggesting is there's something similar to it. There's an old proverb where there's like 5 blind men, and they're each touching a different part of the elephant.
Oh yeah.
And they're describing what they are sensing through their fingers, and they don't realize that they're all touching the same elephant. You know, each one is touching something different and feeling something different, experiencing something different.
Yeah, so, one experienced lotion and one experienced lube. What are you talking about?
I was
maybe
see, Ron and I are very different people, but in this instance, we were in lock sync.
I don't know. I think I was there too. I was thinking which one had the trunk, which one had the dick.
But I got you.
None of them had that. In my version, one had a trunk, one had a tail, one had a leg, one had an ear. You know, one had a side.
Gotcha. In the 4th hour of the program this morning, GD will be actually telling that old, what is it? A fable? What is it?
Parable?
Parable.
I guess you can call it a parable.
In hour 4, sometime around 12 noon.
Yeah. It's too long to be an adage. So it's too long to be an adage and not moral enough to be a fable. So
yep. Just go over to OnlyFans and just search GD Fenderson, and you will find him there discussing it live.
But erotic
so the 2 of us that
understand.
So the 2 of us that understand that can discuss it. Go ahead, Macchiel.
All right.
I'm sorry, Macchiel.
Now, coming back to comparisons to another book, the book I was talking about, the Celestine Prophecy. You say Celestine. You say tomato, I say tomato.
Right.
That book kind of was a gateway drug for a lot of people in the new age philosophies and that kind of thinking in the U.S. With energy healing and all that kind of stuff. Is this book similar in that, like you go like into these esoteric ideas about the human energy field and all that kind of stuff?
I break it down to the simple because we find it perfectly simple that your Wi-Fi, either whether it works or not, all information goes through the air. If you press the remote control, the TV works. But we think energy between people is non-existent. That's of course something that also exists. Everything is energy. Everything is radiation, frequency. But the elements. So this is actually Celestine Prophecy 2.0 or 3.0. not making that esoteric, but making the esoteric simple, because quantum physics is about the esoteric as well. And it's a science, but it's like the more we know, the less we know. The more we break down into the atom and get closer and closer to the smallest detail, the more a whole universe of new elements opens up. That's the wonderful part. And that's what I explain by simple examples in this story, because then you find out we're all related, everything is related, and everything is influenced by what we do. That's the butterfly effect.
Right. Well, part of what turned me off to this whole thing was at the time I was working for a school of healing, and I remember these people were very much into these ideas of human energy field. And one of the leaders of this school looked at me and described my aura as being a healer and being such a positive person. I said, "You got me all wrong. Anybody who knows me knows I'm this far from Satan. I mean, really, not intentionally, but I'm just the most negative, destructive force. And this is how I see myself. How could you be looking at my aura energy field and seeing something that nobody else feels from me? I don't feel for myself. So, a lot of this kind of stuff it can convince people, and I'm not saying she was completely wrong, but I felt like she was completely wrong, is that they believe they have these perceptions that normal people. I've been enlightened. I can see things that because and sometimes they're wrong. And this is where it comes back to confidence. Like, I feel she was very confident in what she was telling me about myself, but I felt like she was also not just as equally wrong as she was confident.
I'm sorry, Matt. Here's the deal. If you did not have some kindness in you, you would not be playing guitar for people who are semi-conscious and 2 steps away from death. You would be going to places where you could be getting more poo-tang. I'm not saying you're not getting poo-tang there, but I'm saying that you could, or other places that are more places that are more rewarding when it comes to the flesh.
I think I have a I don't know if it's a cognitive come back to that, but a response to that is that everything I do is selfish. It's not for them. I
understand that,
for me.
But still,
it's for me.
But everybody, we all have to be selfish. If we're not selfish, we won't feed ourselves. If we're not selfish, we won't take a breath for ourselves. So yes, we have to be selfish. But are you selfish to the point where you will hurt someone else to get what you want? There's a difference.
If it's you,
I can see Matt. I can see Matt punching somebody in the face to get to a gig. 100%.
That's never happened.
That's so he could play for.
I don't think anyone stood in your way either, because you're fucking scary.
Wow. See, now Steven can see my aura better than this.
Oh, don't get me wrong. You're like 90. I could push you over, but I'm just saying you're still scary looking.
No, but I mean, you are seeing my energy better than this person who was a self-proclaimed enlightened, or I don't even know what the way.
My theory is that you feel joy, but you don't want to feel joy because you know in your heart it's going to end.
That's right.
Ooh, that's deep. You need to calm down over there, Dr. GD.
Now, let's come back to the book.
It's about the little girl who changed the world. So let's talk to the little girl who changed the world.
Right. Well, we're talking to her grandfather, who actually gave her the ideas and motivation, inspiration to actually change the world. So, in a way, we're talking to a grandfather, I think. Now, for somebody, can this book? I know it's hard for you to answer this, but can this book have an effect on somebody who was just like a stick in the mud, like me? Ron Kane is even a stickier stick in the mud, or he's in thicker mud.
When I had it published here, it wasn't published in the Netherlands, and also I did print 2,000 copies and spread them around in my neighborhood. It was COVID, and I thought with a little note to it and say, just enjoy reading it. And one of the women in our neighborhood everyone knows that she was really hurt by life. She's really had really big problems, still has them. She came to me and said, well, thank you for this book. And now I finally understand my childhood, what happened. I still understand my parents. And now I understand my life finally. So now I can change it. And I was so amazed by that. Okay, that apparently can happen. It does, because it's about old pain and old ancestral pain that goes from generation to generation. And it's our job of our generation after is to solve that, to turn it into a different energy, or to transform it. And that is what keeps a lot of people in the mud. And if you are able to at least see why this mud is there, why you're in there, it gives you at least some tools to get out. And it has done for a lot of people, apparently. So I'm getting messages every day of people saying, okay, the grandmother saying, after this book, I had to read it from my psychiatrist. I didn't want to read it, but I had to, because otherwise he would stop the treatment, the therapy. And I read it, and I finished it, and then I called my son, who I haven't been in touch with for 20 years, and we're now back in touch, and now I can die happily ever after. I can die happily now. So it does help people which are in the mud, and that's what. Well, you're right. If you just change one people's heart, one people's life, one person's life, then you've changed the world as well. So that's
somehow it doesn't feel like enough, though. I mean, honestly, it feels like very so insignificant that of course, in the moment, it is uplifting. And coming back to GD's point, this is why I do it. In the moment, it is very uplifting for me. I can kid myself that I'm not such a rotten son of a bitch for 20 minutes, a half hour, and then that wears away. And by the time I get home, it's like, yeah, no, think about it. That guy's probably dead by now anyway. What difference did it make? So it's really hard to hold on to that kind of, for me. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard for me to hold on to the feeling of progress. I want to shift to this idea of everything falling in place and what that means. Because the tagline or the quote from the book, I want to read it one more time. Live life forward in confidence, because afterwards everything always falls into place. Now, falling into place seems to suggest that there is a predetermined outcome of where those pieces should fall. And for me, I have had moments where I have taken complete leaps of faith, not knowing what my future would be and having a very precarious future in my mind set up. But things did work out. I'm still here. But it was scary moments, fearful moments of, I feel like I have to do this, but it's very scary for where. But how do I know if that's actually falling into place or just accidentally landing on having a soft landing? You know what I mean? Is a predetermined outcome.
Well, you're the creator of your life, but if at some point being scared makes you feel alive, right? You know that you're alive then in every fiber of your body, every cell. But if you look back in your life, and that can be any moment, but you see the straight line at some point saying, oh, this is why that happened, and this is what brought me here. It doesn't have to be predetermined, but when you see that red line saying, okay, this is a red line backwards, then you can easily say, okay, now it goes forward, it's a red line as well. I don't know where it's going, but it all makes sense. And that gives either comfort or kind of reassurance. It gives meaning. But it doesn't have to be predetermined. If you like, you determine it. But why should it be both, either way or the other one? Maybe it's both.
I think sometimes we attach meaning and to things that might not be there, and we individualize it. Like, I'll just give you a really silly example. Last night, the Mets won their division series, and somebody I know was attributing that to a Met fan who they were very close with, who just passed, and he must have had something to do with this. It's like, I think you're taking magical thinking just a step too far there. I mean, didn't the Phillies have any fans that just passed that kind of could have pulled the strings for them?
And
too?
What about all the years the Mets sucked? Were there not any Met fans that died those years?
Right.
Well, after
exactly.
Angels in the outfield, it started becoming real rare that the Angels would visit. So.
I didn't mean to distract, to totally divert. The conversation went in a ditch here. The idea is that we attach meaning. We are very quick to attach meaning where there's probably is no meaning, right? As human beings, we want to do that. We look for ways that we can attach significance to moments and make them more magical than they really are, or not.
You're determined. If the placebo works, is it a medicine? It worked.
All right. Okay. That's one way to look at it. Let's go Mets. I'm sorry.
Go Mets.
It's an interesting thing. Now, the book is available at your name, Marshall Hulk. Is that close enough? .nl. Is it available in bookstores in the U.S. and Europe?
It's becoming available in the US bookstores, but Amazon is, of course, your friend. It's everywhere. But it takes time for an unknown person, not from the US, to get into US bookstores. But
How long has it been out?
In Europe for 2 years, so it's that's good here, and in America just 1 month. So that's
okay. So have you had time to get actual feedback from America? I mean, there's feedback on the website, but I was assuming that was from the Netherlands or.
That's right. And on Amazon, you'll find a lot of feedback now from people who I don't know, who are really honest about that, and that's. I think I'm so overwhelmed by that because Americans, I know, I love America, I love Americans, and the feedback is always honest, but also very from a new angle. I like that.
Well, we're very different people because I hate Americans.
Now, I have a question about the book. Then you said your book has been available in Europe for about 2 years, right? So is it available in the other languages? And are there any principles or concepts in your book that you had to alter or change for the other languages?
Oh, sorry, it's available in Holland and Belgium, so it's Dutch language. Sorry for that. We're getting to Europe, but not there yet. For America, I had to change quite a lot. The translator said, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And I thought, okay, if I cannot do, I won't do. But what I shouldn't do, I will do. It's like if you take responsibility, in our view, in America, you're taught not to take responsibility. If you're in a car accident, you don't say it's my fault. You say, I deny all responsibility, and here's it to the insurance company.
That depends on how much you've had to drink and how quickly the police arrive.
But I would like to teach your children to take responsibility. You should do that in your own life as well. So I would like to proclaim more about, okay, even if you didn't do something wrong, take the responsibility, try to solve the situation, and not by denying responsibility, try to prevent any claims. And that's, of course, a different way of American society, European society. We don't have this claim culture yet as in America.
All right. If you could you just utter the phrase, that's a great question? I'll edit it on to the beginning of your response later on, but he's kind of insecure. He needs to hear you say, that's a great question. Could you just say, that's a great question?
That's a great question.
Thank you. Well, I'll put that on
later.
Oh,
man, with the accent? See, that's going to get him by for years.
Very cool stuff. Well, we wish you great success with the book. I'm going to read I've read the first chapter. I have not read the entire book yet. I'm going to get the book and read it. I'm not, I'm probably not a good test subject to see if it can actually make it, because I am a curmudgeon. But hopefully we'll see a change in Matt, right? Will we? You think?
Oh, yes.
You guys think? Anyway,
you'll start wearing girl clothes.
Yeah, thanks for being here, and
Thank you so much for having me, all four of you.
It's a great conversation. Thank you, and I appreciate you being here. Thanks.
See you later, buddy. Bye from Amsterdam.
Bye for now.
Come back when you went into a movie.
I got to take the book out. Ron, I'm curious. You are the least. I don't want to say spiritual, but yeah, least magical thinker on this program. Did you get anything from that conversation, or what are your thoughts on that conversation?
The only thing I really remember is some stuff happened.
Because you weren't taking a poop.
Yeah, I was doing that. Then I
called it.
So
I knew you were pooping because while we were mid conversation, I saw that you liked my TikTok video, and I was like, I know what that means.
I think more Americans are like Ron Kane than Michelle. Really kind of, I don't know. He assumed, because I think there are a lot of people who are just really turned off to any kind of idea of magical thinking. And I know for me, it can go.
What? Are you kidding? I do comedy. It's all magical thinking all the time. Because
I have to disagree.
What happened to my voice? I think I turned into Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, comedy is
that was
magical thinking, because you have to be delusional to keep going, thinking, oh yeah, this is a good idea for me to have this in my life. Then like the people that you deal with and all the other shit, yeah, you need
That's a fair point.
magic. You need
it's like a personal magical thinking as opposed to big picture world magical thinking.
I think most of America is based on magical thinking, which is why the only problem is they're not agreeing on the magic.
Well, I think, man, Maybe in New York it's not like that, but like out here, everybody's into the fucking magic and the spells and the astrologies and
Oh, really?
bullshit. Yeah,
You know
it's
what? I think
awful.
you're right
I
then,
would
because
just
listen, I don't know all 10 million people in New York, or actually the state is probably closer to 17, 18 million. Whoa, Mr. Green Screen went blue screen there for us. But my take living here is we have a lot of me. We have a lot of curmudgeons walking around, negative people just filled with negative energy who are, closed
I
down
mean,
to any.
makes sense, I suppose, where you live, but I
It's,
don't know,
I
man.
don't know.
It's just out around here. It's so bad. I made posts about it this morning because I'm sick of fucking hearing it. It's like, no, Karen, just because Jupiter's in fucking retrograde it doesn't mean anything. You're just a bitch. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything. Shut up.
Yeah, horoscope.
Ugh.
What? Rob Lowe liked my post about Tom Cruise, Hollywood Maverick. It was a short I did where Tom Cruise was like insulting people on the show. Whatever I got,
Rob
from
Lowe.
the parents. Rob Lowe. I think he might think it's real. I mean, why? Maybe he doesn't think it. Maybe he's hip to the fact that it's real and just doesn't like Tom Cruise. I had, it was like a Ron-esque parrot AI thing where I think Tom
Wait a
Cruise
minute,
is
you
saying something like
parodied
that.
one of Ron's parodies?
I did. I took Tom
I
Cruise.
think you just did. That is like a paradox. You don't do that. The world could collapse on itself when you parody another parody.
Well, I'm irresponsible then, because if the world ends, it's my fault.
Yes, you're talking about you're dealing with the edge of quantum physics when you do that.
I think, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong because I did a couple of them, but I think Mike Barone, who was the drummer for the Rocket 45s, was asking how, because I kept sending these parrot clips, and he's like, "How the hell are you doing that?" And I'm not telling you because I know you're gonna use it against me, and there's no way I'm telling you what app this is. But so I had Tom Cruise say, Mike Barone is trying to take my place in Mission Impossible, but there's no way I'm letting that happen. I may be short, but I pack a big cock. I think that's the clip that Rob Lowe just liked. Bizarre.
But maybe he's a fan of Mike Barone. Maybe he's not a fan of Tom Cruise.
That's true. All right. You always look at the bright side or the dark side or the blue screen side of everything. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My screen is really bugging me because I got this hole in my chest now, and it wasn't there before. But maybe it's my hair. Maybe my hair moved, and maybe the whole. See.
Yeah, a little bit of staticky there. Yeah, that's a little weird. Are you using the touch up?
No, there is no real touch up. There's one
there
button
is,
that says,
and it's new in settings. If you go to video stuff, that's something they like with Zoom. They just added on StreamYard, touch up my appearance. I thought maybe.
I didn't
sorry,
touch.
Rob.
I didn't.
Ron was talking, and we both. I'm mostly me. Stepped on him. Go ahead, Ron.
I have some news to present that actually fits this show.
Maybe Rob Lowe will like it.
This is fair use. This is from CBS News, and I think I found GD's soulmate.
So it's not AI?
It is not AI. This is from CBS News.
Kitsap County Sheriff's Office feeding raccoons around her home.
Her home for almost 4 decades. Found herself surrounded by nearly 100 of the animals on October 3rd, and that's when she called for help. Kitsap County Sheriff after she was forced to run away in her car to escape the furry and very hungry creatures.
So 35 years ago, you first started feeding raccoons, and then when all of a sudden did it explode like this?
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago.
The woman says the raccoons often surround her day and night, demanding food. And she says she's been quoted prices as high as $500 per raccoon to trap and relocate them. Deputies referred her to the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife to help find a solution to her pesky problem. A woman near Polsbo who's been feeding raccoons living around her.
We lost her. Get me that woman's number. I have a solution to the raccoons that will be cost free. Really, I'll just go out there and use it for content. But my cats and chickens will scare her raccoons. We have raccoons, but they are I don't know, intimidated by turkeys, chickens, cats.
It depends on how hungry they are. If they're really hungry, they're brave. I've dealt with hungry raccoons. And they don't. Hungry raccoons do not back down. They want the food.
We have one outside the comedy club that people will go outside and like feed French fries to. And well, it started as one. Now there's 3, and they hang out by the back door of the club now, where people will go and smoke and like throw them food.
2 months later, the raccoons take over the club and start running the mic.
That's what I was gonna say.
Maybe, man, it's fucking wild, dude. The raccoons around here, they're not scared of people at all. They do not care.
Come on down to the Comedy Hut for Rabid Wednesday.
I will say that's pretty accurate from the raccoons in my yard. They're not scared of people. They are scared shit of fucking chickens, especially when the chickens kind of gang up on them. Like
when they don't like wheelchairs either.
Yeah, nobody wants to be pecked to death. Believe me, this is something that's happened to me.
Nobody wants to be attacked by a pack of peckers.
Peckers, right?
That's not true. You ever met Stormy Weathers?
Yeah, but then she's not attacked, right, by a pack of peckers. It's more organic.
What
the video?
I'm sorry. What did you, Stormy? What?
He said Stormy Weathers, but I thought he meant Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Weathers was
Stormy Daniels, yeah.
I knew you meant Stormy Daniels.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I can't remember the Lena Horne. Stormy weather. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what the hell? Everything went blank here for a second there. My computer's like they went off or something, and then back on. It's very strange shit.
Now, Ian, he may not. Ian was saying it sounds like he watched the Butterfly Effect. He also could have just read the book Chaos, which the Butterfly Effect people probably read before they got.
All right, explain. I think he mentioned the Butterfly Effect. I never saw the movie. I never read the book. Can you give me a brief synopsis of what the hell it's about?
Well, the butterfly effect is just one aspect of chaos theory, but it's basically if a butterfly flaps their wings here, the turbulence, the ripple from the air eventually builds up to be, let's say, a hurricane somewhere in the Gulf of New Mexico. But
there's no Gulf of New Mexico.
Well,
you had it right the first time. Stick with it.
The Gulf of Mexico. Well, the butterfly wings, they created a whole new
all right. That's an interesting. I think there's some truth to that. Everything that happens has a ripple effect. It's basically what you could have boiled that down to saying is like every
but you specifically asked about the butterfly effect. So
but how it works that surmises it pretty. I don't know. I think there's some truth to it. It's one of those things where just because there's an element of truth to it doesn't mean it's like a global rule that we should kind of give deference to. Like it has a major effect on everything. I don't know.
Well, the problem with the theory is that it oversimplifies it because I think there's at least 7 butterflies in the world, which means we'd always have these turbulent storms, and we don't always have them. And wind, the Earth moving affects the air current more than a butterfly flapping its wings.
I'm more of a moth, which is like the white trash butterfly. That's what I am.
White trash butterfly.
If we had no butterflies, no moths, no birds, no bees, nothing to flap their wings, the wind would still be going because of temperature and because the Earth is moving. So
the butterfly effect to me is this. Think about this. And this is not my original idea. I'm not telling you because I don't even know the guy's name who I stole this from or I'm borrowing it from. Is that butterflies are the only bug that can increase your property value. There is a butterfly garden in the Bronx Zoo. People pay $10 to walk into a room full of butterflies. You can't think of any other bug that would happen with. A room full of cockroaches. You're gonna ask for money to walk in there. Any other bug, mosquitoes, forget about it. You can't pay me enough to walk into that room. Butterflies, sure, here's my money just so I can walk in there. The butterflies are the, I don't know, angels of the bug world. I don't know. So they're kings, divine
They're
bug.
carnivorous.
Yeah.
I
You know what? I skipped over. What about, you don't like butterflies? You hate butterflies?
I don't
kill
hate
butterflies?
them. I don't like anything that cannot predict its movements.
I read somewhere that butterflies also
are free.
Carry rabies.
They
Carry
like
rabies.
human flesh. They just can't penetrate our skin until we're dead. Apparently, like if there's a body in the woods, you will not only will you find maggots and flies, but you'll also find butterflies.
Apparently, Steven is working on a horror novel or a screenplay, and he's just testing out the waters here.
It's called the butterfly affect.
Yeah, butterflies theoretically have a smile, have a 5-mile wingspan. What do you mean?
He'll say that's what if a butterfly flaps his wings, that way it can cause more turbulence.
Of course, yeah. All right.
In my movie,
if
you go back in time and you fuck a chick with a butterfly tattoo, will it change your future?
See,
the answer is yes. Child support.
Yeah. I stepped right on your joke there, but that's what I was thinking with the butterfly effect. I was thinking it was that old parable about the time travel thing, not the wing flapping thing. So here, my day today was supposed to be. Tonight I have a wake to go to, but I could only stay for a short time and then have to get to my gig. My gig, turns out, is not this Thursday. It's next Thursday. Now, Mikey's not taking responsibility for his fuck up on that. I think I covered that. So now I have a choice. I could go to the wake for the 4 hours and really just suffer. I hate wakes. It's like the most awkward. I'm socially awkward to begin with, but being around people who are just depressed, and I'm depressed, I have very big issues with this death. Just to begin with, guilt issues for how I never got a chance to say I'm sorry and thank you and all that stuff. So it's going to be, that's put a major ripple in my day. I don't have a gig tonight, so I have no excuse for getting out of the wake early. But I just got a text tomorrow. I was supposed to live stream the funeral from a church to family who could not come to the church. I just got a thing. The church is not allowed to live stream. No equipment or distractions allowed. Like the church had live streaming during COVID, but now they won't allow even like an iPhone or something to stream. Seems like it's cold. Like church on church.
Yeah, that's really fucked up. Have you considered maybe just wearing a shirt with a pocket, starting the live stream, and just put your phone in your pocket?
Well, that's the question that I was just asking. See, the worst thing, well, not the worst thing, but a really awkward thing would be get bounced from a church for not playing by the rules during a funeral. That would be, getting Ron White thrown out of a bar in New York City, getting thrown out of a church, literally thrown out of a church for bringing an iPhone in and trying to stream a funeral. I don't know. That's kind of tacky. I don't know what to do. I'm caught in the no decision zone here. I don't
That's
know.
asinine to me. When my uncle died, they allowed us to live stream the whole thing because I couldn't get there. I was in the hospital.
Yeah, what do you think the thinking is? If that's a distraction, just put up a camera in the back of the room or something? I mean, what is it?
You first of all, you've watched reality television, so you know that people's behavior change the minute they realize they're being observed. So as soon as the deceased realizes she's being observed, she's going to hop up out of the coffin. It's like, well, you're being punked, because that's what happens. People cannot help themselves. They alter their behavior as soon as they see a camera.
I don't think that's the distraction they mean.
Yeah, I doubt it either. But we'll let him get away with saying whatever he wants to say because he's my best friend for the last 37 years.
Well, listen, if it gets to be, if you go to this wake and it just gets to be too much, just text us. We'll lighten your mood.
It's not like you're going to be.
It could be a good viral moment if I get somebody with an iPhone out there. Wait for me to get thrown out of church and make sure you get that on tape before I see the priest or whatever the deacons actually manhandling me and throwing me out of a church.
Get this out of here! Get this the fuck out of here!
We get a skid the day toilet.
Yeah,
we end up with.
Get that camera out of here! We're not Scientologists. Get that out of here!
So, is the consensus among you guys that I should go and try to do it on the sneak, on the down low?
Well, dude, you have family that can't get there. For a church to deny the rest of the family a chance to at least be part of it is the least Christian thing I've ever fucking heard in my life. I say,
that's
do
the
it.
least Christian
And then
thing?
worst case, and then it's not. But I'm just saying it's not the most least Christian thing. But you know what I'm saying? Like. The family is grieving, and there's people that can't get there. Why not let the family that can't get there be part of it still?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not like there's a cover charge or a door. You need to buy tickets.
You can't record it, and then delay broadcast. You just can't live stream it. Record it, and
no equipment. It says no equipment or distractions. That's what the notice says. Yeah, not allowed to live stream. No equipment, distractions, etc.
Maybe they want you to use their equipment. Maybe you have to pay for their equipment.
I wouldn't put it past. I would not put that past the Catholic Church to do something like that.
Dude, Matt's not going to be here tomorrow, and it's not going to be because he's at a funeral. He's going to be in jail, and we're going to get a news clip of him throwing a priest off a roof.
My whole
not dropping.
Sorry, dropping him off the roof.
Yeah. My whole
it was part of the Eucharist. It was part of the Eucharist. This is the body of Christ.
Yeah, I was stressing out since Monday, since she passed, about how to handle this whole going to the wake, then getting to my gig. The gig is not there, so I don't have to do that. That's been taken away from me. So that's kind of an ease up. But now I have more stress because now I have to stay at the wake for longer than I would want to. Then tomorrow,
to tell them you have to be back to show us how to do the thing tomorrow morning. Yeah, you have to.
I already let them know because when I texted to you, I will be able to push the start buttons just in case. But I should show you. Remember that text? I sent it to them first because there were multiple texts going on, so they already saw that I could start it without you with it.
They didn't see the follow up. They didn't see my text back to you, which was tell them
that one of us is retarded.
You can't.
They know that. They've seen the program.
So you can't stream, but you can have a celebrity there by Bob Eucharist. I mean, come on.
Bob Eucharist.
And is it a Catholic church? I would just give them middle finger and fucking just do it. Fuck them. They've been banging kids for years, and they're mad at an iPhone. Get the fuck over.
Tell them to Catholic your balls, bro.
Well, I hate to agree with Ron as much as I am right now, but he just considered this. Maybe they're paranoid about the iPhone. Like you don't want to catch any priest. Like,
yeah. You know what? Maybe they can call the Pope Nokia, and he can come over here and do something about it. Fuck them. Go in there and live stream it for your family. And you know what? Catholic funerals are so disrespectful anyway. I went to one for my neighbor, and it was 3 hours of them preaching, followed by 5 minutes of mentioning the deceased, and then the funeral was over. I'm like, I'm here to celebrate this life.
I've never known a Catholic funeral to go more than 45 minutes. I mean, it was
felt like 4 hours. Dude, I don't go to church.
The Catholics have formulas, man. They're like the mass.
Yeah, exactly.
They lost my attention after the
Eucharist. Yeah, they're like they got the communion line to go like hurry up. Okay, no, nobody's getting the whole thing. You're getting half a wafer, so you don't have to chew as much, and we'll spray the wine on you. Go.
Dude, They had after the third stand-up sit-down thing, I lost interest and just played on my phone.
Well, that's what's pissing you off is the standing up and sitting down. It has nothing to do with the time.
Let me just add to GD's point here. The Catholic Church is like a assembly line mentality, and they are very much about money. We got another funeral booked for 10:15, man. You got to get in, get out, type of thing. So they are very concerned about keeping up with the assembly line.
Yeah, it's one funeral an hour. You got 45 minutes. She's like, you got from 1 to 1:45, and then you're out by 1:55. The next one's in. It's got from 2 to 2:45, and 2, then 3 to 3:45. That's it. They're like Ford before Ford started hitting views.
And thinking about it, it may have been like a wake/funeral in one sitting. It could have been what it was.
Yeah, Indiana doesn't know anything about Catholicism. I just have to say.
Are you kidding me? We have Notre Dame.
You don't even have any Italians or Irish there. You don't have. Do you have Irish? You got a big Irish contingent?
Notre Dame is a Catholic Irish school. I'm half Irish.
Right. I forgot about that. I forgot about Notre Dame. Yeah. All right.
I'm
wrong again. I've been wrong a lot lately. More than my batting average is really going way down here.
Our team is the Fighting Irish.
I got it. All right. I'm wrong. I admitted to being wrong. Why do you have to throw extra on top of?
I thought a 5-minute monologue about why you were wrong would be sufficient.
Okay. Do you care about news? I'm not even going to play the news, right? We fuck the news. It's bad.
Apparently, there's a hurricane about to hit Florida. Last thing I heard from them. So
I think that's
in a week, in at least a week. It's going to be at least a week.
Well, he's going to play it now, and he's going to be like, "It makes landfall tonight."
They don't even mention the hurricane in the news. It's like no big deal.
So now it's future news.
Generally,
they'll mention the lies that Trump told about the hurricane, even though the hurricane is gone, but the lies
Trump
still
never lied.
Around.
Trump never told a lie. Now we can talk about because I think Ron sent a clip of Trump on with the Andrew Schultz knuckleheads there, and I was not sure. Because when he started, there's a clip of him talking about Eisenhower generals, and then he goes on a tangent, and he's like lost, and you could see them laughing, like laughing like old man can't find his way back to whatever the topic was. But I'm not sure if they were laughing at him or with him, or feel like this is so cool. We got Trump. I mean, what did you watch any of that, and what's your take on the response to that?
I watched the part where he says, "Is Elon Musk your favorite black guy? Your favorite African American?" And Trump goes, "Yeah," because I don't even think Trump understood the question.
Right, I don't understand the question.
Well, I'm just saying, but that's what they said, and that was Trump's response, and then laughed.
I get it. But
it's because Elon is South African.
Yeah, but he's not. Whatever. But was there? Do you think they had like this fanboy thing with him, or were they actually laughing at him? Like, look at Goofy. Like, first of all, I would be shocked to get somebody like that. Andrew Schultz is not Joe Rogan. I mean, he doesn't have that kind of audience. But again, he went on with Theo Von, so why not? But I mean, do you think they had a fanboy reaction to him, or were they laughing at him? It's hard to tell, and I don't know.
I think it's fanboy because Schultz and Stefano and a couple of them others are still really heavy Trump fans.
And I don't think that they would let Trump do something like that if he wasn't going into friendly fire.
Oh, I would let him on this program to be like a grandpa.
I'm just saying his people. I don't think Trump's people. And matter of fact, Trump is too insecure. Trump is too insecure to do anything where it's not friendly fire.
They let him go on that African American conference, whatever that. You remember when those black ladies were like ripping him a new one?
One of those women was he went there because I guess because one of those women has actually interviewed him before, and she was very, very Trump friendly. Yeah, very. I can't remember her name, but it's if you're looking at the television.
Was her name
There's Trump, and there's a woman, and the third woman is the one that's very, very friendly to him. I can't remember her name.
Well, there is
her name was Aunt Jemima.
of Trump saying that he's truthful and Schultz laughing at him.
Right. That's why I thought, are they laughing at him or are they laughing with him?
Well,
I think at him.
It could be a good mix of both, honestly. Because like I said, I've heard Schultz in the past say he was voting for him and mean it. So, but at the same time, at this point, who knows? Maybe it's just starting to fall apart for Trump. He's just starting to lose them little by little,
Or a lot by a lot,
or a lot by a lot. Yeah, because he's ever since he's been put up against a much younger candidate, he now looks like the bumbling old guy, and it's starting to show really bad.
Yeah. To GD's point about like his people and his handlers, what are they fucking thinking? Like, don't they know the people who watch those kind of podcasts? They're the bros. He's already got the bros. You know, right? That's not like reaching out to a new audience, right? That's basically.
Well, it almost sounds like they're trying to capitalize on this. It sounds like they're trying to capitalize on this right wing swing that mainstream comedy scene's been on. You know, started with Rogan and then with Gillis and Theo Vaughn, and that right wing swing that's been happening in the mainstream podcast comics. Maybe he's just trying to capitalize on that.
Well,
but he's already got those people. That's my point. Is like that he's preaching to the choir.
He's doubling down on
That's like him going to a Klan rally. Like we already know everybody in the Klan.
I think maybe they're realizing they're not going to gain. They're probably not going to gain anyone new, and they just have to double down on who they have.
This is what I think. And I could be wrong. I don't think I am. If you look at
you've never been wrong.
If you look at Trump's voting record, or not his voting record, but the voters from 2016 to 2020. Okay, he picked up almost an increase of like 4 or 5 million people or something like that. So, and those are people that were sitting on the sidelines that had not voted before. Okay, and so now now their theory is that there's a few million more sitting on the sidelines, and these are the ones we're going to get if we can 2020. So in 2024, they're trying to get the other bros that are sitting at home that haven't registered or are registered and didn't vote last time, and they figure there's a few million of those and they can get them, especially in swing states, because he's not trying to win another million votes. He's trying to win another 100,000, like 30,000 here, 11,000 there, 20,000 there.
Can you find me 1,100 votes? Can you find me 1,100?
He's just trying to get those swing states where he lost by just tens of thousands. That's all he's trying to get. And if he can get those bros who sat on the sofa or aren't registered to register, he thinks he can win it. So that's his strategy. And then if that doesn't work, then he's going to go to the courts.
No, you're overthinking it. At this point, he's just desperate for anyone to listen to him. And really his only outlet is these fucking podcasts like this, where these where they kind of lean that way, but they're trying to play it tongue in cheek. But as comics, it's just embarrassing because you have a guy that just wants to take free speech and do all this other shit, and you're like having him on your podcast. Then you won't even hold his feet to the fire. Come on.
Well, here I am agreeing with Ron again. I'm sorry I'm agreeing with Ron so much. I apologize to the audience. I'll try to be more disagreeable.
You can both be wrong.
But
fine.
The narrative the narrative they're putting out there is the Democrats are anti-free speech, but Trump is the one calling the media the enemy of the people and wanting to take away news licenses. There's no such thing as a fucking news license, by the way. But he talks about this on almost every tweet, like the CNN should have their news license revoked. They don't have. There's no fucking such thing as a news license. But it's the narrative is that the Democrats are against free speech. But I feel like, and I think it's pretty obvious that Trump is the one who wants to shut down opposing commentary all the time. So it's just weird how, bizarro perceptions of who's for free speech and who's not. Who's burning books? Look at that. It's crazy. But the podcast, he's afraid to go on 60 Minutes because they'll be mean to him and actually show that his book is empty, or his healthcare plan is just a bunch of white pages like they did last time, or something like that. He's afraid of that, and so he plays it up, and now he's going on like the dipshittiest podcast that you could ever. Again, this is not Joe Rogan. Andrew Schultz's numbers aren't only probably not even double what ours are. I mean, really, seriously, he's not like a big player in the industry. So I don't know why he's doing that, or why people behind him think that that's a good idea. Again,
because
this is the crowd.
It's hits. That's all they're looking for. They need viewers, and they need anything to get the conversation going.
Wow. Yeah. So
we can't overthink it. This is just about getting attention and views, and trying to.
He was in Reading yesterday, right? Reading, Pennsylvania, holding a rally, and there were pictures and video of the paid sign holders behind him actually sleeping during his thing, and a lot of empty seats.
He can't.
They were nodding off. Like,
he can't compete with that Scranton stick. That's the problem. He can't compete with that big Scranton stick.
Yeah. But so now next week, he's holding a rally in Madison Square Garden. And I'm predicting that his crowd will be smaller than the crowd that I had in 1997 when I played Madison Square Garden. And that was a private party for the company that actually owned Madison Square Garden at the time. It was for the executives and their families. There were maybe, I don't know, 300 executives and their families. So maybe 750 people, and that's probably a very large estimate. Less than that. In Madison Square Garden, it feels like an empty room. The echo in the room was a problem for the audio people. That's how empty it was. But in New York City, people have to realize this. Donald Trump is hated in his hometown. And I can't imagine, unless they are going to buy tickets and pay people to come to New York City to fill that venue, I can't imagine that's not going to be a complete embarrassment. It is kind of a throwback to the original America First, the Nazi movement. They had a rally, America First, in the 1930s at Madison Square Garden, where some anti-Nazi guy rushed the stage yelling, "Down with Hitler," and they kind of beat the shit out of him. I think that's what he's trying to kind of play on, is that original America First in Madison Square Garden. But I don't feel like it's going to go well for him at all. And why speaking of like his people wanting to handle it, have they done any like market research to find out how people in New York City, they're counting on the suburbs to come? Any thoughts on that? Like the Madison Square Garden rally?
I mean, it's a stretch, man. I would imagine they're going to bust in a crowd, would be my guess.
Why didn't they do that last night? Because there were a lot of empty seats at Reading.
Because it's Madison Square Garden, and regardless of your profession, Madison Square Garden's a big deal. So they're going to want to make this big. I would imagine.
But again, last night was televised, and the video cameras were showing all the empty seats. It's not.
Well, I mean,
for him, that is the most painful thing, is to have the world see that he's not drawing concert crowds.
Well, right. So that's why I'm thinking this Madison Square Garden thing is that push to get that look back. And candidates are known to bust in crowds, so it's not not a stretch in the imagination. So I could see them busting in 3 or 4 buses of people and getting a big crowd in there or whatever. And
3 buses of people. Bus only holds like 150 people. And that's if you stack them vertically.
Well, I mean, but yeah, between buses, I'm sure they're going to go out and have people asking people if they want to come, probably for free, get people in the door. They're going to do whatever they have to do, but they're going to probably pack it out. It's probably going to be a good showing, but it's still just going to be Trump on stage being a bubbling fucking racist piece of shit.
Maybe
and it's going to be another shit show.
I know how they'll get more people. If Trump says you can open carry inside of Madison Square Garden, and he wears a bullseye. So that, I think, would do it.
And there goes Rumble again.
Yeah, there goes everybody. I just want to say, I need a new best friend for the next 37 years because we just fired. We've just fired GD as my.
Me and
best
Ron
friend.
will both live about that long. I don't know if GD has 37 years left anyway. So.
Hey, coffee with the dog. Suck my dick.
Exactly.
Wow, look, Barack showed up and it turned Matt really white.
Barack scared
not just a coincidence.
Out of him.
Not just a coincidence.
Barack is cooking.
Yeah,
Barack scared the blackness out of him.
It scared the little melanin he
Here's
had.
some magic for you. I'll make my dick disappear in that ass. You thought the Scranton stick was big? Wait till you taste this salty Chicago beef.
Oh my God. Barack, calm down. I can only get so erect.
Really?
State of my union.
No, he's supposed to be out there.
Randy.
He's supposed to be out campaigning for Harris. I haven't seen any campaigning from him.
That's
but
Barack right now calling you. He's saying, "Stop using my likeness."
That was Govs telling me. I thought you were going to fire GD. I thought.